Hi guys, during World War II, the British government had an initiative called Dig for Victory, and it was about encouraging people to grow their own food in order to avoid some of the problems related to rationing and the shortages during World War II. Now, it seems Reform UK want Brits to do something else. Maybe not dig for victory, but do something else for victory, because they're talking about the declining population. Now, this is a tweet from Zia Youssef, who is the Reform Party chairman, not the boss. Nigel Farage, of course, is the boss, but he's second in command, we could say. He's the chairman, and he posted this on social media. The collapsing birth rate in the UK, now well below replacement rates, is an existential crisis for our country. The Tories and Labour have sought to solve it with open borders. Now, there are no open borders, but what he's talking about, of course, is immigration. Reform wants to end that. A Reform government will cut net migration to zero and do everything in its power to encourage British people who are fertile and want kids to have them. Scrapping the two-child cap is just the start. Okay, the two-child benefit cap in relation to universal credit is not encouraging people or discouraging people from having kids. It's about people who are already in existence. Nigel Farage is the only leader serious about tackling the biggest problems, regardless of what the polls say. British people know this, and that's why he's leading in the polls. And then he posts a link to, or he posts a graph showing the declining birth rate or fertility rate. Now, look, there are a number of reasons why the population is declining, and I'm going to get to the main reason in a moment. But there are a number of factors. So you have different groups of people. You have people who don't want to have kids, and you have people who want to have kids. Now, the people who don't want to have kids, I'll get to those in a moment. But the ones who want to have kids either are having them and fewer of them, or they're not able to have them because of a number of factors. For example, housing is an issue, employment is an issue, the cost of childcare is a massive problem for many people. So they're holding off until maybe their job becomes more secure, they have more money, or they're able to maybe own their own home, or they're able to stay in a home that is stable. It doesn't have to be their own home. They don't have to buy it, but it must be something stable. So they have a secure rental agreement or something like that. Now, those are the people who want to have kids. There's also a cohort of people who don't want to have kids. And we've seen countries around the world, Hungary, for example, put in place measures to try, and encourage people to have children. They've tried to provide them with issues that are normally blocking people who want to have them. For example, when it comes to childcare, housing, giving people money to actually have kids. And it's not having much of an impact. It's not reversing the declining birth rate, which is an issue also in Hungary. Now, so Hungary, a right-wing government, is pumping money, metaphorically speaking, into people's pockets to have kids, and at the end of the day, many people are not having them. And the question has to be, well, why? Why are people not having kids, even if they can afford them? Or why are people deciding, apart from those who want to have kids, why are people deciding not to? And I've been scratching my head over this, and I think we've come to this conclusion. Why are we not going out and hunting animals for food? Why are we not going into forests to forage berries? Because we don't have to. So I think over the last number of decades, or maybe in particular the last number of decades, people have come to the conclusion that they don't have to have children. This is separate from people who want to. This is people who feel, I don't have to. Maybe it's subconscious. Because in the past, why did people have large families? They had large families because they needed workers. They had fields to be plowed or harvested. They needed a small workforce. People were concerned about child mortality rates. Well, we better have a lot of kids because some of them may not arrive to the age of 5. There were serious health issues at the time. I'm talking about maybe 50 or 100 years ago. So all that has changed. So people don't feel the need, and they don't feel the same pressure from parents or from society to have them. So these are people who don't want to. Now, let's get back to the people who do want them. What is Reform UK going to do for them? Well, they just mentioned the 2-child benefit cap. Well, that's not going to encourage people to have kids. It's not going to help them. What you'd need to do is you need to talk about affordable housing. What is Reform UK going to do about that? Well, they don't have a policy on that, it seems, or not that I can see. What are they going to do about employment? Are they going to make sure that people have stable employment, strong protections from for their rights, reinforced rights with strong unions? No, well, Reform UK is against that. They voted against a policy to protect workers' rights recently. So there are two issues that are really important for people. What about childcare? Is Reform UK talking about investing heavily in childcare? Remember, when it comes to childcare, you're going to have to bring in workers from abroad because there aren't enough people working in childcare to provide these services. And there's a lack of funding as well. So what is Reform UK's response to all of this? Are they just going to give people money? Well, Hungary tried that. Other countries tried that. And it's not working. So if you truly want to turn this around, you need to look at the core problems of facing people who want to have children. But you also have to face the reality that many people have decided not to. And it's not about money. It's not about their job. It's not about security. They perhaps don't feel the need. And we have to work towards a society that maybe moves on from that. We're seeing more and more jobs being outsourced to AI, outsourced to robotics, automation, and our economies need to change. They need to adapt to the new reality. And Reform UK, well, they want to go backwards. They think we can just go back to the 1950s or the 1940s, at a time where there were not these technologies available, or people's approach to marriage or to having children was completely different. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.